Good evening, everybody. This is Rob Johnson with the Spotlight Media Network, coming to you from the Louisville Fire Station as we are here for the Louisville City Council meeting for March 16th, 2026. We'll be with you here in just a few minutes. This is the Spotlight Media Network.
All right. Hey, love to see a full house. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Louisville City Council meeting on March 16th, 2026. We will start with our public hearing on the Community Entertainment District. Anybody here to speak on the Community Entertainment District? Okay, hearing none, I will call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the March 16th meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Aljansic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes. Please bow your heads for a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Aljansic,
Here.
Gadone,
Here.
McAllister Atkins,
Here.
Street,
Here. Okay, we have a certificate of an open meeting, and we have the minutes of the March 2nd, 2026 council meeting. Any additions or corrections?
Oh, look good to me, Mayor.
Yep.
Okay, I ask that they stand approved as presented. We will move on to the Mayor's Court of Report and Receipts and Disbursements ending February 28th, 2026. I ask that those be accepted, and we will move on to the financial report of receipts and disbursements for the month ending February 28th, 2026. Matt, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to hit a couple of highlights on the financial reports. First of all, income tax collections as of the end of February are up 6.8% over what they were at this point last year. I don't really expect that to continue. I think at this time of year, it's a lot of a function of just the timing of when people file and pay their taxes. So we'll be monitoring that. But the withholdings are up 5%, which is encouraging to see because those tend to be more constant. Second thing are expenditures compared to appropriations. The target percent at the end of February is 17. If you look at the report, we're at near 26%, but if you factor out the transfers between funds, which is not true expenditures or new revenue, we're at 15%, so we're just about on track with that. Other thing I wanted to point out, the general fund unencumbered balance is 4% lower than it was at this point last year. And last thing, the Star Ohio interest rate for the month was 3.8%.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Any questions?
No.
Not at this time.
Okay, let's move along to resolution number 26-13.
being a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a legal services contract on behalf of the city to retain Grossman and Kelly LLP on a contingency fee basis for the prosecution of any available legal claims in the products liability litigation MDL 2873 PFAS.
I'd make the motion that we bring Resolution 2613 to the table for consideration.
Second?
Mayor, I believe Tanya is going to handle this one.
So, the multi-jurisdictional litigation, there are 4 companies that have entered into billion-dollar settlements because of the microplastics that they're putting out into water systems. And the way this process works is they've already entered into the settlement, and so this company would be retained, or this law firm would be retained. They would do all the testing, and if our water showed any signs of any of these contaminants, we would be eligible for certain money to repair and restore and get all the infrastructure improvements that we would need to address any of these issues. So it's no cost to the city. The firm, the main one is called Grossman and Kelly. They're out of New York, but they're the leading firm on these issues. And then they retained a local firm in Ohio, Keckler and Brown, who I've worked with many times. They would be the local representatives. So again, it's no cost to the city. It's just to ensure that if there is any evidence of any water contaminants, and these are microplastics that are often not detectable yet. There's legislation that in future years will have to have certain compliance. But if we do test positive for anything that we would be eligible to money, they would make sure we got that money.
Okay. Is there any evidence, whether Louisville or on the local level around us, that those being in the water, and if so, how much?
I'm not aware of it being of any jurisdictions around here testing positive yet, so that's a good thing. But it's in the city's interest to test now because the deadline to submit a claim is in June, and so we would have to test June of this year. So if we are going to be eligible for money, we'd have to determine whether there was any detection of any of these, all these different terms, PFAS, whatever, before June. That's why we need to retain them now.
Yeah, it looks like the only cost to the city then would be a settlement.
Which would be the typical third, right?
Yes, yes. If we did get any funds, they would be entitled to a third, and that's very standard for a contingency fee. Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's vote.
Algeosa?
Yes.
Cadone?
Yes.
McAllister Atkins?
Yes.
Street?
Yes. Let's move to resolution number 26-14.
Being a resolution approving the creation of the Louisville Downtown Area Community Entertainment District pursuant to the provisions of revised code 4301.80.
I'll make a motion that we bring resolution 2614 to the table. Second?
Mayor, this is a final step prior to Dave applying for the creation of the said in the downtown area that will provide us with those additional liquor licenses for the purpose of hopefully attracting or them being available if a business or restaurant would want to relocate here. After this resolution passes, assuming it passes tonight, then Dave will make application to the state and we'll continue with the process.
Okay. I know we have some new people here with us. Dave, is there anything else you'd like to highlight how this would be helpful for potentially downtown or businesses that may want to locate there?
Yeah, Mayor, as we spoke, this isn't a silver bullet, obviously, but it will give opportunity for businesses that want to locate in the district, which is mostly downtown and the surrounding downtown area, to get a liquor permit. 8 will become available in the district. They apply to the liquor department just like any other liquor license, and it allows for 8 additional in that area at a reasonable cost. They don't have to Trex one in or anything else, or purchase one out and bring it in.
Because if they went outside, I mean, what does a typical liquor permit? I mean, the range of those.
Yeah, I don't know what they are, but I know they're expensive, and then you usually have to get a lawyer to Trex them in. It's quite expensive.
And this one was at like $2,500 or something, very reasonable. So if somebody wanted to open up an Italian restaurant, wanted to serve wine, this is something they could do with that.
We don't have any, once we do this, it's up to the liquor department to approve any license.
Sure. So it's removing a potential barrier for somebody wanting to come in.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about this over the last 2 or 3 meetings. It's nothing new. It's not nothing that we're going to vote on here for the first time that we've heard it. This is at least the 3rd meeting that we've discussed this outside of us individually talking with Dave.
All right, let's go ahead and vote.
Algeosa?
Yes.
Cadone?
Yes.
McAllister Atkins?
Yes.
Street?
Yes. All right, let's go to ordinance number 26-15.
Being an ordinance making appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Louisville, Stark County, state of Ohio, for the year beginning January 1st, 2026.
I'll make the motion we bring ordinance number 26-15 to the table for its first reading.
Second?
All right, Mayor, this ordinance does a few things with respect to appropriations. First, as you know, the police department received about $66,000 in grants, which is being appropriated in revenue. Fire department received about $9,100 in grants as well. So that amount is being appropriated in the revenue column. And then in the expense column for the fire department, that same $9,100, but only $42 for the police, because they already had some money appropriated for that same purpose. The next thing that it does, it appropriates about just under $61,000 in the public health department. We're not real clear what happened here. For reasons that we don't know, we're assuming that it was technical error. The line item that covers the cost of the yard waste program that we share with New Michelle Township and what we essentially expense for health department services was zeroed out in the budget. And I say I believe it was technical error because for it to be human error, it would have had to have gotten past three of us. All of us would have had to have looked at a zero and not questioned it. So we believe it was technical error, but we are correcting that at this point so that we can, A, account for that deduction for the health department, and B, pay our bill to the township for the yard waste program. And as with all appropriations, it would be by emergency per the charter.
Okay.
Okay. And those grants for the police, or for the body cams?
Not just for the body
Right.
cameras, but for the entire system, the cloud storage, the banks that the body cameras sit in. Rachel did an incredible job in getting quite a bit of money that will absolve us of some expense for the next couple of years.
Okay. Questions?
Sounds good. Those grants, that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and vote.
Aljancic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes. Make a motion that we suspend the rules to consider ordinance number 26-15 by emergency.
Second.
Let's go ahead and vote.
Aljancic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes. Okay.
being an ordinance making appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Louisville, Stark County, state of Ohio, for the year beginning January 1st, 2026.
Make a motion that we bring ordinance number 26-15 to the table for its second reading by emergency.
Second?
Okay. Let's go ahead and vote.
Aljancic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes. Okay. Pronounce ordinance number 26-15 duly passed and enacted. That brings us along to new business, and first up is Randy and Sydney Cole. So you can just stand up right there at the podium, and since you request, sure, no problem. And you have 5 minutes to share with us.
All right. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Cindy. This is my husband, Brandy. We live next to the retention pond on South Marion. We moved there September 1st of 2007. We've never had a problem with wildlife and all the crazy critters until the family moved in behind us on Hazel. That they moved there in 2014. They started throwing food on the ground. First it was bread, now they go to the mill and they throw meal from the feed mill all over the ground. We not only have, they've been to the city before, they complain about us, we complain about them. I've been here many, many times. Nothing's ever been accomplished. I'm to the point now where I'm sick and I'm tired. I'm tired of putting up with it. They say that the squirrels knock the food out of the feeders. They don't even put the food in the feeders. I have a camera on the back of my garage. I watch them. They come out with 2 big pitchers. They put maybe this much in the feeder, the rest. Come on, kids, come on up here and eat. They coax the ducks. They coax the animals up to eat. And I don't mind if it was just ducks. I like animals. I have pets. I like pets. It's not a problem. The problem is the raccoons, the skunks, the squirrels. We had a raccoon in our driveway the other day, looking right up at you. I mean, it's like, okay, come on, I don't have time for this. Like I said, and if they don't come up, and this year was really a problem because the geese come in too. We have geese, we have deer, we have raccoon, we have coyote, we have red wolf. I can show you pictures of all of them. We have it all. It's like I have a farm and I live in the city and I pay city tax. I shouldn't have to deal with this at this time in my life. Let me see here where I'm at. The geese this year, when they flew in, it was a hot mess. There must have been 60, 70 out there. They come in. I do have a laser if it's early in the morning. I don't shine it in their eyes. I will shine it out and it scares them off. And I don't care because I don't have to deal with, I asked the game warden, they said it was fine, that it does not hurt them. They're afraid of the light. You can use a red light. I mean, you don't shine it in their eyes, you don't shine it, you just move it around. They don't like the bright light. And they'll fly off if it's dark. But from my house all the way up to Briarwood, everybody's house was covered with bee scrap. Okay? Do you know how much it costs to have somebody come in and power wash your home to get this off? Because that's how bad it was. I mean, everybody's house. We shouldn't have to deal with this. And with the raccoons, we've paid 4 times to have raccoons to be trapped, to pull out. They're $100 every time they come out. Okay? Who has all this money to deal with this? Right now, I am dealing with stage 3 endometrial cancer. I do not have time and energy to deal with all the extra work and the aggravation from all the critters and the mess they create. I find it very sad that at this time in my life that I have to look for a place to move. And I am looking so that I can have peace and try to enjoy what is supposed to be my golden years. It would all stop if there was an ordinance in this town where you can't throw food on the ground. I don't care if you put food in the bird feeders, but whenever you're throwing, we have rats. There's muskrats. There's got to be rats because when you have dog food on the ground outside, rats, all that's coming in. You shouldn't have to deal with that. And the only thing that I'm asking is for this town to step up to the plate and take a little pride in their people. And before this town becomes like other poverty levels. And I appreciate you allowing me to speak and listening. And I'm sorry if I was a pain in the butt, but that's just how I feel. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
This would be the appropriate time. So
Yeah.
Cindy has reached out before, and we've been in communication with Tanya because I think, at least talking amongst council, I mean, none of us would want geese crap all over our houses or our yards, and they're coming in. So we asked Tanya, our law director, to look into different ordinances, different possibilities, ways we could possibly address the issue. So I'll turn it over to you.
So, council, you do have the authority to establish this type of ordinance that would ban feeding of wild animals. The decision you'd have to make is if you'd want to limit it to geese or make it broader. That can be a little tricky because most people don't object to bird feeders. But by limiting it to geese, I think that would address a lot of the issues. So that's the first consideration of whether it's just geese or more animals than geese. The second is if you want to do it on private property or public property. Here it sounds like if it was limited to private or to public property, that it wouldn't assist in this situation. Because my understanding is that the retention pond is on private property. Is that correct?
It's currently on public property.
Oh, the retention pond is on public property.
It's public, yeah.
Okay,
But they're throwing the food on the ground in their yard.
in
which is
private property. Okay.
But the raccoons and the skunks, and you can't even let your pets out because if you do, they get sprayed.
Right. Okay. Sounds like a nightmare. Some of the examples I saw were within like 200 feet of public property. So that would kind of encompass these situations. The issue you have is if you do it citywide on private property, now when anywhere people are just filming their neighbors, those are just considerations that you have. But it sounds like this specific area that the retention pond itself is public property. And what I've seen in several cities that they ban the feeding of wild animals within 200 feet of public property. And that at least narrows the scope, and it would address this issue. And then the third consideration is enforcement. That is always the trickiest part. We can, of course, as we know through zoning and many other laws, you can put lots of laws in place, but they have to be enforced. I have seen different ways that this is enforced in different cities. A lot of times it's a progressive fine and a minor misdemeanor, and it would go through mayor's court if they were cited, but they would have to be cited by the police department. So those are the different considerations, but those are definitely options. I sent some sample ordinances for you to review. There was one from Barberton that I found particularly helpful because it explained the governmental purpose of the ban, which is it was basically information pulled from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources that feeding wild animals is actually harmful to the animals and to the local ecosystem. It's bad for the wild animals to be dependent on someone feeding them, and it's not food that they're intended to eat. And then it creates the nuisance that we just heard about. It attracts other animals. We get animal feces everywhere, and it can create animals that are not scared of humans, which is when you start getting attacks. So those are all the reasons that are why people have banning of feeding wild animals. So that was one of the proposals. There was also one, I believe, from Eaton Township, or the city of Eaton, and Broadview Heights. Some of them were more narrow, some were broader. But those are essentially the three considerations for council. And then whatever you decide, I can craft, and I can have it for you at the next meeting.
Yeah, I liked a lot of what we saw at Barberton. I think a lot of us liked Barberton. And the other thing to add to that is, all you have to do is a quick Google search on this. Not only is it, a pain to neighbors that don't necessarily want these wild animals around their house, so it's really not fair to the neighbors. But it's also not fair to the animals themselves. It totally throws off their migration cycles, so that's why they're here longer. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why we need to have something in place to at least tell people that, we don't appreciate not only the neighbors, but what you're doing to the animals themselves. So whatever we can come up with.
Do we need to meet and go through those, what we like, or what do we do?
Well, you would meet here, and we would discuss it here. Yeah.
Because I really like the Barberton one also.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I agree. If you could bring us, a draft of possibly, the feedback you've gotten from, the ordinance in Barberton, maybe if there's any options or different ways you'd want to craft it, specific to the city of Louisville, there's other best practices. I think that'd be helpful, and I don't think any of us would settle or be any kinder if it was happening in our backyard for years and years and years. So I don't blame the residents.
Do you want me to draft one for just city property or within near city property and one citywide? Or do you want me to focus on city property?
You said city property and 200 feet
We could do 200 or 300 feet
beyond?
within.
Which
So that would be all parks, all retention ponds, all city buildings. It would really actually even be public roads.
It's probably not a terrible idea because we can always expand on it if we have to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then I can mirror the Barberton fine process, which was just it was a step. So the first one is $75, and if they do it again, then it's $150, and then if they do it again, then it's $300, and each time it's a minor misdemeanor.
Right.
And then the final question I think for discussion would be if it's just waterfowl, or if we want to expand it or start with waterfowl to see if that abates the problem, and then expand it only if it doesn't abate the problem.
Can you remind me, what were some of the other animals under consideration?
The other ones, I mean, it's deer. Deer are a big one. I know that there's a huge problem in a lot of communities. So many people feed deer. I'm a gardener, if anyone is a gardener.
Yes.
Deer are not your friend. They are a huge problem. So if your neighbors feed deer, they will come eat your garden. Raccoons is another huge one. People love feeding raccoons, and they're very cute, but they can be very vicious, and they can cause lots of problems and be very disruptive. Cats is another one. Again, people feel very strongly about feeding cats, but it's actually very, very harmful for the local ecosystem to feed cats.
Are we able to include cats since they weren't technically, I know we had another issue with cats that we had talked about a couple months ago, and they were protected as, I don't know if it was domestic or residential or what the term
Ban
is.
feeding their own pets, it would be wild animals. So we could, feral animals, yeah. Like there are some people who feel very strongly that they set out lots of holes for all the feral cats, but then that attracts more feral cats, and then there's issues with birds and gardens.
Well, and the one neighbor, I mean, he had multiple dead ones on his back porch. I mean,
Yeah.
that had emailed us.
Yeah. Well, we all, as far as those circumstances, we're on board with Toby Franks now, so that if that would present itself again, we'll work with him to address it.
So I could maybe just start with the geese, waterfowl in general, so geese, ducks,
Deer.
deer.
I'm okay with including more, but I mean, it's a
How does
group
the police department feel about
decision.
enforcing that many animals?
That's a great question, because they're gonna have videos of people showing them feeding, yeah.
I mean, and we would warn them in the beginning like we would anybody else, and then if it became a consistent issue is what we would find, but.
It's not like the policeman would be stationed behind trees in the park
Right.
looking for this.
Binoculars.
Police patrol.
Yeah.
Instead of park
Yeah.
patrol, yes.
Yeah.
Just 'cause see, then you have nature like out by the creek, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, you'll see deer running by, and
I would be into, look, why don't we include everything, and then
Okay.
give us a little bit of time. We can research it before next meeting. If we
Sure.
want to amend it or remove something, we can do that
Okay.
at that time.
Yeah, Broadview Heights, that was the second one. It bans it for, any geese, ducks, raccoons, fowl, or other wild animals, and it expressly states this does not apply to pets or songbirds.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can still have your bird feeders,
Yeah.
and your pets, but if you're feeding raccoons and ducks and geese, that create a problem. Not many people get mad about, blue jays, so.
Sure. Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
I will put one together for your review at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks for what you've done so far too, Tanya.
Yeah.
Those are great examples.
Thank you, Tanya. All right, next up, we have Beth Campbell from the Chamber of Commerce that's going to share some updates about Chamberfest.
Good evening, everybody. Some of you know me and some of you don't. I'm Beth Campbell. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisville Chamber of Commerce. And just to bring you up to date on what's happening with the commerce, we're doing a few little changes this year. We are incorporating what we're calling a monthly meetup that we're encouraging business members to have a little get together at their location, and other members to come in with their guests. And some of the businesses are opening this up to the public also, that we have an opportunity to meet each other, know who we are, what we do, and different businesses we can promote each other. It does help to have that rapport with our local businesses. Don't forget, on June 6th, we're having again our shred event at the Constitution Center. It is a free event. We ask for donations only. We will also have a recycle truck there, and that goes on from, this year it's going to be from 9 until noon. And that's been a big hit the last few years for the community. Clean out your basement and bring it, and we're there to unload your car and all that stuff. So that's always a fun thing, and the weather's been good. We did not do the chocolate walk this year because I don't like sitting outside in a blizzard in March. Okay, so we put that on the back burner for another year. Our big thing right now is Chamberfest. We are working towards a Chamberfest. That's going to be June 27th at Metzger Park from 4 until dusk. We're prefacing that a little bit with what's called a color run, that folks can sign up for the color run and they run through Metzger Park. I'm not real sure how all this goes, but area businesses will be able to sponsor and throw color on you and on the kids. Now, I hate to tell you, the kids are probably all going to have to walk home because you're not going to want them in your car. So hopefully we'll get plenty of children. The one thing we are asking for the city council in the coming weeks to consider is to help sponsor our fireworks. Last year we had the Eagles that sponsored for the fireworks, and the city sponsored $5,000, just as to put so that you remember what you did last year. And we're here to ask, for that, whatever donation, whatever sponsorship you can do. Of course, like everything else, the fireworks went up. So, we are actively pursuing sponsorships and stuff for the fireworks. This is our 250th nation's birthday, and so we're trying to do just as much as we can to make it a full day. The inflatables will again be free for the children. We encourage families to bring picnic baskets and watch the fireworks. We're keeping everything as free as possible. That is our goal. It is not alcohol. There will be no alcohol. There will be live music and a DJ, and we think the Humane Society's coming. There's going to be a pet parade with prizes and things like that. So it's going to be a really nice day. We got it down to one day, one evening. We're concentrating. You know, we played for a few years with 3 days and then 2 days, and now we're down to let's just concentrate on one day. You know. So thank you for your consideration. Please let us know. I do know that the Eagles did donate, and Tiffany was going to check for me. They gave the money to the city instead of the Chamber of Commerce. So that's another question is, we'd really like to have our money one of these days. That would be really nice. So somebody call me and let me know. And put it on your calendars. The rain date is Sunday, the day after. So in case it does rain, it will still happen. And we do like our fireworks. We changed companies last year, and it was a little bit easier, a little bit nicer. So we're hoping for good weather. So please show up. Our website is louisvilleohchamber.org, and information on everything is there.
What was the date?
June 27th. It's a Saturday.
What's your total budget for the fire?
The budget for the well, it's not a budget. It's the bill is 10,000. Yeah. So.
I could probably help have the Eagles help you.
I think they did the show. Well, they did. Yeah, and I called them and they thought I was asking for more money, and I wasn't. It's like, no, where's our money? And they said, well, we gave it to the city. So I talked to Tiffany. I went, where's our money? So I don't know why they do that, but.
What's happened? It
Goes to the Chamber of Commerce. And we're always open for more. So we had some wonderful signage last year, and we're doing the same signage that where the knoll at the top, where the flagpole and everything is, big signs, and it just went all the way down. And so we're increasing that this year and got some bigger fence posts, so it makes it a little bit easier to put them up. But it's a nice time. It really is. So thank you for having me.
You Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
I know my kids enjoy the inflatables, and you can't beat the price.
No.
All right, and maybe that's something. If we can just put that under new business, as long as Matt look at the budget, as long as that's good, maybe we can consider that donation under new business next meeting. Okay. All right. Next up is Horn and King Architects, about the renovation or new build of City Hall.
Yes, thank you for having us, and, okay.
I'm Dave King with Horn and King, and again, Sharon Jurowitz, who's really important player in all of this process. We work together on all these projects. She's the one that pulls it all together, and you'll see that in the presentation she's going to give you, which you should have hard copies of. So just wanted to make sure that she was introduced properly, and take it away.
Thank you. Do you want to control that, or do you want me to stand over there, or what's up to you? Okay. So I believe you guys have the packet of information in front of you, because I know on the screen it's very small. Just a little bit of background. We've been working with Andy over the past year since the fire department moved out of their old facility. That space became vacant. The city hall said, let's expand into that space. We've been working on how to accommodate and have the best use in that space. Working through that process, we have run into various concerns that have come up in that existing building and trying to make it the most efficient new use for that space. And we got to a point where we said, for the amount of money that you would be spending on renovating that building, we could probably provide you with a brand new building. So we kind of stopped our process and looked at those two scenarios side by side and came up with this cost analysis of the renovating the new building is that first column. The second column would be a new building with those same components in it. The new building would be smaller, but that is because it would be more efficient, a little bit more compact. The existing building would have a lot of space that's dedicated to circulation, the stairs. There would be a ramp needed on the main floor and in the basement. And so based on those efficiencies, we were able to make the footprint smaller in that. So we have the two scenarios. Right now we're looking at about $130,000 difference between those two options, and we felt that it was important to bring it to you and talk about just the difference between those scenarios. Do you have any questions on the cost? I could go through any of this in more detail if you want.
I'll just save questions for the end, or if somebody has a question, they can raise their hand or shout out during your presentation.
Okay, if we could go to the next, okay, or I could have this.
Absolutely.
Let's see what I can do here. Okay, so new building floor plan. Keep going, okay. Pictures, okay, so what we have here in the purple part on the left-hand side, we have a large open office. We have individual offices set up for 6 different people. The yellow color on the right-hand side would provide a new city council chamber space, executive session, conference room, mayor's office. The gray on the top center is a large storage area where we would have high-density storage, where now in the basement of City Hall we have different storage, but it's on shelves. This would be more compact, movable, so you can fit 2 or 3 times as many boxes in the same amount of space because it's the high density storage. And then we have restrooms for both public use and staff use. So that square footage is about 8,500 square feet, and we are working on making that smaller, and we have some ways to do that. Looking at it on the site plan, this is on top of the existing photo of the site. Your existing building is the green dash line at the bottom of the site. So we're looking at possibly building the new building to the north of that in the parking lot. So City Hall could maintain operations through construction. Then that building could be torn down and the parking lot would be built where the existing building is. You could also add some more parking to the west along the alley, and you end up with more parking than you currently have. Some other things to point out on the site is that we would be improving the whole site. You would have some green area around the building. You could have a nice memorial patio out front of the building, area for flagpoles. And it would be spending money on updating the whole site. Where in the price for the renovation of the building, we really weren't including any money in there for site improvements. That even includes the apron leading up to the existing fire garage doors. In that budget currently, that is remaining. So we're not even updating that or improving that. So looking at what this building could look at, we were first looking at what it could look like with a flat roof. I can't get all of it to fit, that's okay. This is one of the options. Having a mostly brick building, similar to what the building is now, similar to this building here. Having a stone base and some detail trim molding at the top of the building, nice windows. In 3D view, that's what it would look like from the corner of the park, looking up at the building. So you'd have a nice front entrance that would be facing the parking lot. You also have large windows to the east that would be in the council chamber itself. Some views from the other side of the building. We're also providing a mail drop box area. I know that's very important. A lot of people pay their bills at the drop box, so we would make sure that there's accommodations for that. On the bottom image towards the left, you can see the white fenced-in area, we would have some sort of generator for this building that we will want to enclose. Excuse me. That could be out of a fence material similar to the generator here, or we could also do that in brick. So we also looked at what it could look like if it were more of a sloped roof building. So these are the flat elevations of what that could look like. More of a formal appearance on the front of the building with the gabled ends. Then again, what it could look like in 3 dimensions. So some nice trim work, some higher walls, the gable ends. And then again, looking at it from the different views. This bottom view, just to point out, would be like if you're coming out of Umbrella Alley and turning, this is the view that you would see from that corner. We're providing a sidewalk along that alley so you could get from there over to the park space over towards the library. And then this is just looking at the 2 side by side, the slope roof versus the flat roof. So you could see the same footprint, but just looking at how you could treat it in different ways.
The price that you have on this new construction for that just under 4.3 million, that does have a sloped roof, correct?
The price that's in there is including the flat roof.
I have a question, like when I've had kids build houses and stuff like that, and they had always said to have a sloped roof as opposed to flat roof, because flat roof, things can go wrong, water staying on top and everything. I mean, is this true?
Yes, in theory, it's true.
All right, I just want to say, because like when we built our house, we had different things, and they said, no, you want a sloped roof.
A roof is only as good as the installer. There's a flat roof on this building, and it's hidden by slope roofs. If nobody knew, there's a giant flat roof in the middle of this.
But it
I
has
don't,
sloped
I
on
don't
top.
have any issues with flat roofs. They're done right, and they hold up tremendously well. It's a great way to hide mechanical equipment up there, and you don't have to have it on the ground. This building would be very visible from all 4 sides, so it's going to be hard to hide things like that.
What would a sloped roof add for cost?
We would have to look at that more specifically. It's not, the roof itself is not that much more. In fact, a shingled roof is less than a flat roof, square foot per square foot. The more is when you have those taller gabled walls and the structure's different. So I don't think it's a big determining factor at this point. If you like the slope roof, we'll figure out how to get that to work. And to point out, on this slope roof version, there are some flat roof portions in the corner. So you get a flat roof no matter what.
I've just been in a lot of schools and a lot of churches with flat roofs that have a lot of leaks,
Yes.
you know, and I'm sure they're done differently now than they were done before, but it's like coded into my, I can't imagine building a new building and having a flat roof on it if we could help it.
Okay, yeah, we can certainly look at having 0 flat roof if you want.
Or minimal.
Okay.
Minimal.
We've
Plus,
been
it just-
doing this,
just
the
looks
Morning
better.
King's been in business for 40-some years, almost 50 years, and we've never had an issue with a flat roof.
That's real wood.
If the chief calls me tomorrow, I'm in trouble.
Well, the technology is so much more advanced.
Mhm.
And again, as she said, it's all about the contractor. So we're very careful in the selection of contractors and the subcontractors. What's their experience with different kinds of systems? If you're heating and cooling,
Sure.
roofing, a number of things.
Sure. Okay.
But it will investigate.
Didn't mean to derail. I was just curious
No,
with
no.
the
No,
with the
it is-
quoted price.
It comes up, yes, in every city, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the comparison list, this was just pointing out a few of the major components between renovating the building and new construction. And I won't bore you with reading through each and every one of those things. So we do feel that even with the amount of money that you would be putting into renovating the building, there would still be issues in the building that we're not addressing. We're not addressing all the handicap issues. We would be providing ramps as needed. I don't know if you've been through the whole building, but the main floor is on 2 different levels. The basement is also on 2 different levels, and we would accommodate that with ramps, but we would not be providing an elevator between the 2 floors. We were looking at having a lift that's attached to the chair, or attached to the stairs to get from one floor to another, but that does limit what the basement in that building can be. It cannot become an assembly space without the addition of an elevator. So that would be additional cost if that were something that you wanted to deal with. The basement in that building does have some flooding and mold issues, which we would try to remediate as much as possible, but we cannot guarantee that all of the flooding issues could be corrected. There is asbestos in the existing building that would be removed as needed to do the renovation. It does cost a lot more to do that if you're trying to keep the building itself and work around that, so it would be less expensive to remediate the asbestos if you're tearing the whole building down. Those were the main issues between the 2.
The mayor have his own office?
In in both scenarios, the mayor would have an office, yes.
And he can hook up with the guy in Cleveland. They can buy furniture again.
Yeah.
The mayor up there.
I was going to say, if you're looking for areas to cut costs, the mayor does not need their own office, and we could eliminate that pretty quick.
I'll cut that out tomorrow.
There's as long as there's a conference room that members of city council could meet in, that would suffice.
Yeah, that executive session room looks fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry if you've already said this, would the new building have a basement, or would it be built on?
Very great question. No, just a single-story slab-on-grade building. So it would make construction very fast and very efficient, and we wouldn't have to deal with any of the compliant issues of going from floor to floor.
What would you do to mitigate the damage to the roof by leaves congregating in the valleys?
On a flat roof?
Oh, no, on the slope roof.
Oh, on the slope roof?
You've got valleys there, and
We
you're gonna have
do.
leaves congregating there. How are you gonna mitigate that?
Well, we'll feed the geese, and the geese will come.
Nice. Yeah, that was quick. That was quick.
We could look at that, absolutely.
If I were only that quick, I might be.
Well done.
That was good. So these are some photos of some existing conditions in the existing building that will not necessarily be addressed, or will things that have a giant question mark that go with them. The restrooms in the basement, there's not money in that budget right now to update the basement restrooms, so they would be left as is. There's the existing hose drying tower, which we're trying to use the floor of that space, but we're not really sure how to contend with the volume that's up above that, so we need to evaluate some more how that whole volume works. There's an existing cistern in the floor of the apparatus bay. We're not sure how big that is. We dealt with that on another project where that has to be just completely filled in, and we don't know if it's small or large, so that's something we need to explore more. Like I said, the stairs and the different levels between the different spaces. The existing exterior has what I refer to as the pit.
Yes.
Okay. Right now there's minimal cost going into that. So that fence, I would love to fix that fence. The bridge right now is probably going to stay. The stairs need a lot of work, so we are looking at possibly tearing out the concrete steps and putting in an aluminum stair in there instead. But the pit itself, as you can see in the next couple of pictures, it needs some love down there.
Yes.
And then the last picture is the existing mechanical room in the basement. It's very inefficient. It's divided up into two really small spaces. We are looking at really redoing almost all the systems in the building, but they're not going to be as efficient as a new system in a new building because the building itself is bigger than it needs to be, and it's very long and skinny and spread out, and we're trying to do the best that we can for the money.
Yeah.
So new systems would be much more efficient in a new building with a better envelope, windows, wall insulation, all of that. This is what the renovation could look like. This is what we have priced out now. We would be on the top picture on the left-hand side. That would be where the existing overhead garage doors are for the at bay. We'd be, of course, removing those doors, adding lots of trim, lots of windows to that part of the building. The right side of the building is where the existing, there's some small windows that we'd be taking out, and then those pill-shaped windows that we would be removing, and then filling that back in with different windows. Trying to not have to put any new brick into the building because we're sure we won't be able to match it. We're basically taking the whole section that's coming out and trying to fill it in with something that's not brick. So you do end up with a lot more windows in this than you would possibly in the new building because that's what we're filling in those voids with. The existing walls in this building are very inefficient, so we'd be furring out the inside of those walls to add insulation. So we're kind of stealing some of the square footage to make it a more efficient building. Those are the flat views of the sides. And then real quick on the demolition plan, like we mentioned, there's a lobby taken out of the existing building. We really went back and forth with Andy several times and saying, like, what's the bare minimum that we can do? And it really turned into a domino effect every time we tried to look at it. Like, you start looking at just the apparatus bay, can we do that? But there's also the whole central part of the main floor that has all the block walls that originally was the police department and the fire department. It's been so many different things. That really needs to be reworked also. And then, like I said, redoing the windows and furring out the interior walls for insulation. We really are ending up redoing everything on the first floor. It's like everything. In the basement itself, we're trying to keep that to a bare minimum, but there's so much asbestos down there. We have to pull out the ceilings and redo the ceilings, which means redoing the lights. So it just really starts compounding. So the new plan, I think, works great. I think in the end, you would get a good layout and you would get the spaces that you need. There just would be things that aren't done. So in the new space, similar to the new building that we showed, you'd have a new council chamber, executive session, plenty of office space, plenty of storage space. But it is spread out. The different orange sections are those vertical circulations of ramps and stairs. And then the downstairs, that gray area is all the storage space, that nice big room. It would be nice to have that be another community space or open space, but again, without the elevator, it can't per code be treated as anything other than office or storage. That's it.
Go to
Well,
Is there a question?
I didn't have a question, I just had a comment, just as a reminder. I know some of us in this room remember about 15 years ago when we moved the police station to the west side of town, and we decided to do a lot of that work in-house ourselves. And we ran into a lot of problems that we didn't realize until we got in there.
Yes.
And I'm afraid that maybe something like that could happen. It's just something to keep in mind. If we are to renovate instead of new build, there could be something here tonight that our architects couldn't even tell us because we just don't
Well,
know.
and that's exactly what happened with the police department between what we learned was termite damage and then water damage that wasn't readily apparent upon the initial inspection of the building. It wasn't until we got into the demolition that we found considerable damage that we did not have an option but to fix.
Right on.
Yeah, I think the same was true, at least, I know we have a school board member here. I'm super thankful to have North Nim still standing, where I went to elementary school. But I think the exact quote was, if we would have known everything we were getting into when we started it, the project would have never got off the ground. It just wasn't feasible. And that's, I think just looking at some of those pictures, I don't think the public often sees it. I know, it's not like we use the basement for obvious reasons a whole lot in that city hall, but it was a bad era of construction. And aside from the roof, I believe, so there's not been a lot done to it.
It's been reconfigured just about every way that you could over the years to squeeze every last square inch of space out of it. But to your point, in terms of any type of major renovation, the roof, whatever number of years ago that was the only thing. And that was out of necessity because of what we were experiencing. And, and I should say, we've had, I think it's fair to say, countless meetings with the architects. The goal was to do everything we could to be responsible with the taxpayers' money and do what we could to get the best use out of the existing building. But as time went on and the more and more things that we found, it, as Sharon pointed out, became evident that it just wasn't practical anymore to think that we could be effective or efficient with the renovation of that building.
Just to clarify, the cost that we have here, if we go towards the new building, it would take care of the demolition of the old building as well completely, right? So there's no extra, good.
I like the new building.
These costs also assume that for the renovation that we wouldn't run into any major issues. There is some contingency built into the budget, but if we went beyond that contingency, that would be in addition to.
Change orders.
Correct.
Yeah, the way I look at it, at least where we're at right now, there's no guarantee that that doesn't go higher. And as much as, and I can't remember if it was Ravenna or another municipality up north, took a former fire station, converted. That was our initial idea, because we thought it was going to be cost effective to operate that way. But once you start peeling back and, there's asbestos, there's heating and cooling, now you have to, and we didn't even really touch on the ADA issues we have currently with City Hall and wanting to make sure that building is accessible for everyone, whether it's residents or employees.
We do have, I think multiple now professional objective opinions that it is just a very unique and challenging building, given the era that it was built.
We even had a broker look at it. How candy put it.
Yeah, what was the quote from that broker?
I could read a couple of them, but I'll paraphrase. It was a commercial realtor from here in Stark County. They were not certain that they would be able to, if we were to put it on the market, that they would be able to find a buyer because of the uniqueness of the building. That they just didn't feel like it was a marketable building, that anybody who would purchase the building would have substantial cost in turning it into something that could be used, which of course would ultimately affect what the selling price of the building would be. They weren't real positive about the building.
Outside of storage or continuing to be an eyesore,
Yes.
probably downtown.
Yes.
Unless somebody was willing to put the kind of money into it that we've talked here to give the exterior a more respectable appearance, I'm sure it would continue.
Which maybe they're in the audience or watching on. They just can't wait to sink millions of dollars into that building, and they could probably contact you this week, right?
And the other point that should probably be made,
Time's running out.
the renovation cost does not include a new roof. It may not need to be replaced today, but it is the original roof from when the roof was put on. So in the not so distant future, it's going to have to be replaced. And that would obviously be in addition to those renovation costs.
Andy, zooming out a little bit, can you tell the audience or the public just about finance? I mean, this is something that we're considering doing with obviously no new taxes and existing reserves that we have from several different funds.
Correct. Essentially, we have been very fiscally conservative for a number of years now. That combined with the additional revenue to the general fund that was realized through the passage of Issue 6 by the voters, we have been able to do some of the very positive improvements that you've seen in the park system. We have been able to build this building, and it's essentially that same fiscal philosophy and revenue from Issue 6 that would allow us to address what I think everybody believes are the critical needs of City Hall without any additional tax money or going back to the voters for any levy issues, anything of that sort. At this point, we're close, but at this point we can still fund this while not negatively impacting our operating budgets and while not putting us in any kind of a bad fiscal position.
Love that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I know there's a couple different options, which way it turns or different locations, that we could consider for this building. But for the time being, I mean, would you like some direction at this point from council in terms of what the administration was pursuing with Horn and King?
So sure, we would. What has happened is, as Sharon pointed out, we essentially, once we got to that point of the cost being so close, we kind of stopped pursuing the renovation work and turned our attention towards what the potential for new construction would be or what possibility. So we're kind of at this point in a holding pattern. We obviously don't want to go too much further in either direction until we know what council's desire is.
Yeah. And one other thing with new construction compared to renovation, I mean, with the renovation, it does kind of throw chaos into daily operations for the city.
Because of what we learned with where the asbestos was and what would have to be done to remediate it, we would have to move to a new location, and that, of course, is part of the expense in the renovation cost, whereas with the new building, we would continue to operate there until we moved into a new building.
Well, I feel comfortable, and I'm not sure if we want to entertain a motion. I think looking at it and being fiscally conservative about it and wanting the best long-term outlook, I don't want to put good money after bad, with this. If it was $1 million to go in and get what we need to be doing within the fire bays and the rest of the building was in great shape, and our systems were in good shape, and the basement issues weren't there, and the accessibility issues weren't there, I would say, great, let's spend the $1 million we have saved, let's get into those fire bays, let's make that space usable, and into it. But when the costs are within only a couple percent of each other, total for the project, and you have a chance again to add something positive to downtown, create more parking. That's what I'm leaning towards that I think makes the most amount of sense.
Sure.
So it's less question marks.
Yeah. So would a motion to pursue new construction as opposed to renovation suffice?
That would give us some direction that we could run with.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.
Do you need to vote on that?
The only other discussion I would I would really like it if either one or two council members could just be on in some of the meetings in terms of the a la carte, if you will, options, and just with cost considerations. Doesn't need to be the whole body, but just some people that are available. Not in every one, but just to be able to, so we're informed and we can, and we could say, no, we actually said no to this, no to this, no to, yes to this, or what may be. Okay?
I just happened to recently free up some time, so.
All right, let's go ahead and vote.
Yes.
Yes.
McAllister Atkins?
Yes.
Street?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for making the trip. Drive safely. Okay, we will move on to the city manager's report.
Well, first of all, thank you. That will be very helpful in moving forward and trying to get this issue addressed. You do have the department head monthly reports. I'm sure that any of us will be happy to answer any questions that you might have about those. They're primarily statistical information as they have been in the past. We did provide you with a copy of the letter, just so you're aware of the notification that's going out to the Stonebridge residents. You'll notice that we did put my and Dave's contact information, so hopefully when those questions or concerns come in, we can address them before they reach council. Then, bringing back from the last council meeting, I did speak with Michelle Schaefer. So what we determined for certain was on Bel Air, the end of Bel Air, you have a cul-de-sac, and then there's a house with a Fifth Street residence that has a driveway that comes out the rear onto that cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac it is the property of the school district. At this point, the school district doesn't have the ability or is not willing to fund any type of paving of it, even if we were to do it and bill them for it, which was what the option was. So in effect, she just asked, understanding that it is a school issue, that if we receive any more concerns or complaints, that we just refer them to her office.
Okay.
Was the person who was concerned given maybe a picture of that so that they know where those property lines are?
I believe we have their email. I can certainly communicate through that. I haven't talked to them in person. I think they initially reached out to you, Mayor.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I can certainly get back in touch with them and let them know what the outcome was.
Thank you.
And then the last thing that I have is, if at some point this evening, we could appoint likely the mayor to the SCOG committee and then maybe an alternate for when he may not be able to make it.
Okay. Sure. All right, any questions for Andy?
No, covered it.
Okay, let's go to department head reports, and Chief, I think, had to step out.
He did get called away, yes.
Some people do anything to get out of a report.
I'll check on that.
All right, Dave?
I'm checking right now to see if I have anything. Mayor, Council, just briefly, I know a few months ago we were talking about the sidewalk program.
Yeah.
And I know some of the newer members may not be aware of it, but we talked about extending, I know there was a talk about extending the assessment period. So I want to make sure we're still on the same page because I'm going to start working on some legislation for that, possibly going up to 10 years if that's what they would like to do.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was before or after January, but one of the things is I think sidewalks have leaps and bounds better than they were 10 years ago in the city. But the cost of concrete has also just about, depending on when you start from, tripled at least. It's really expensive, and so one of the things we asked is that some residents, if they don't fix the sidewalks on their own, it's assessed on their taxes. And so we had asked Dave, could we extend that payback period to basically make it affordable? If we're able to do it, I would love to be able to do that because it's a lot, and I don't want to see. I know people have lots of expenses with their homes, and if we can make this more affordable for them, I'd love to be able to do that. Was there anything I know you were checking in ordinances or revised code that would prevent us from doing that?
Now, I checked with the auditor where we do the assessments, and we can assess whatever number we want as far as years. Andy and I talked about whether we may just say automatic 5 years, and if they want to do it 10, then they would notify us and let us know. We could put it on for 10 years. Some of the other issues that we were dealing with as far as was timing, trying to get the program started sooner, and some of the deadlines, giving people a little bit longer period of time to notify us that they want to try to do it themselves or hire a contract. Those types of things are all being changed too.
Great.
And we're starting the program much earlier in the
Trying to
year.
make it
so-
yeah.
Start it early, give them longer to respond, make it just more consumer friendly. So,
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that we're also trying to prevent this in Stonebridge, right?
yes.
Issue that we
Yeah.
were addressing. The other thing is mentioning Stonebridge, the preliminary plat did pass for those homes that we talked about. So
Okay.
we should receive the final plat at the next planning and then bring it forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Daryl?
Thanks, Mayor. I really don't have anything tonight, but I'll take any questions.
Got the salt trucks back fired up,
Yeah.
ready to go.
Everybody be safe going home. We'll be out there.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have to drop a blade.
All right. Chief?
I don't have much either. The service department and the police department did get a donation from the American Legion, so we wanted to thank them for that. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
So does Matt. Matt appreciates that as well.
Right.
Thank you. All right. Matt?
I didn't really have anything further, but I was told that Rachel would write more grants for us if I did a singing bit. So we can look into that at the next meeting. Maybe I can put on a performance or something.
We got the new mics.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Happy to take any questions though beyond the finance report. Has me.
Nope, not at this
No,
time.
life is good.
Okay. We'll move on, and I will entertain a motion to appoint a member to Stark County Council of Governments.
So I make the motion that we appoint Mayor Street to the Stark Council of Governments and appoint Councilmember McAllister Adkins as his alternate.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
There you go. Okay. Let's go ahead and vote.
Aljansic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes.
I will also make a motion, calling it resolution number 26-16 to appoint Mike Johnson to the Louisville City Council open position for an unexpired term.
Second?
All right. Mike, do you care to step up to the podium?
I could have said no.
You could. You
Very good.
You got it. So, hey, why don't you just tell the people watching at home, people in the audience, a little bit about yourself, your background, family, education, what draws you to the position?
Certainly. Mike Johnston. I am 46 years old. I've been in the town my entire life. My wife here, Bobby, of 21 years. My daughters right here, Aubrey and Addison, are here with me. They're juniors at Louisville High School. And I'm sure they're embarrassed because they have their classmates sitting right behind them right now. My son is off at Findlay University right now. What drew me to the position? Obviously, I'm serving on the Planning Commission right now. Was on the Board of Zoning and Appeals before that, as well as the Design Review Board. Enjoy serving the city, and once this opportunity came open, I'd like to serve in that capacity.
We appreciate you, Mike.
Thank you.
And we appreciate all the applicants, actually. We were impressed with all of the applicants and thank them all very much for applying and your dedication to serving in the city. Some of them that we interviewed are already serving in some position, helping the city on different boards.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate that also. Okay, Mayor?
I say welcome.
Yep. Yep. Okay. No more questions for Mike. Let's go ahead and vote.
Aljansic,
Yes.
Gadone,
Yes.
McAllister Atkins,
Yes.
Street,
Yes. All right. Welcome aboard, Mike.
Thank you.
So with that, thank you very
very much. I appreciate it. I do need to obviously state probably for your minutes, I do need to resign from the planning commission because I cannot
That was,
serve on
yeah,
both, so.
that's next on my list.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you.
So,
Tiffany, would you like us to accept that officially before moving forward, his resignation, or are we okay
That
with a
should be
verbal?
fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Very good. Thanks, Mike.
so with that, with Mike stepping down for the, from the planning commission, I'll make the motion that we appoint Michaela Bird to the Louisville Planning Commission.
Second?
And Michaela was unable to be here tonight. I believe she had an obligation with her daughters, and with a short notice, she was unable to come. She did commit to coming to a future council meeting, but again, out of the open council seat, we had 7 applicants. We thought very highly of Michaela, her finance background, and are looking forward to. A lot of the applicants said if they were not selected, they were interested in serving if they weren't already, and so we are looking forward to her joining the Planning Commission.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and vote.
Aljinsik?
Yes.
Gadone?
Yes.
McAllister Atkins?
Yes.
Street?
Yes.
I'd also like to make a motion to appoint Brian Schneider to our Board of Appeals and Review, and I believe he's in the audience with us here tonight.
Second.
All right, Brian, step on up. Why don't you tell us a little bit again about yourself, background, and you know, kind of what led you to want to serve for the city?
Yes, thank you very much. Congratulations, Mike. My name is Brian Schneider. I just moved to Louisville a couple months ago in November of last year. I've previously been living in Columbus, Ohio for the past 18 years. 4 years went to Ohio State, got my degree in economics, and then I've been working in the corporate world down there for large corporations such as JP Morgan Chase, Huntington Bank. I now work for Optum Bank, which is a subsidiary of United Healthcare Company, so I had the pleasure to work remotely. So wanted to move here to Louisville. I was born and raised in Canton, Ohio, went to Glen Oak, so don't judge me too much. But wanted to be closer to family, so my fiance and I wanted to settle roots in here, do the safe neighborhoods, good school district, and recently been looking for any opportunities to represent the city and further any advancement I can and offer my service to them.
Great to have you, Brian.
Yeah, and we made the point, we're just all so excited. I know a lot of us have been here our whole life or most of our life, but you know, we want Louisville to be a place that, you know, successful families want to come and move to. So Brian, welcome, and we're excited to have you aboard. So let's go ahead and vote.
Aljinsik?
Yes.
Gadone?
Yes.
McAllister Atkins?
Yes.
Street?
Yes. Okay, this is kind of a marathon
It has
meeting
been.
night, but lots
It has been.
of good stuff. I know I just have 2 quick things before we go, and Declaration Commons sent the letter again thanking us for working with Gorga Street Horrors Haunted Trail and the new location. You know, it's just nice to hear your residents feel heard. I think this is a win-win situation where we could take land where the recycling used to be, set that up. Again, we want to have attractions that draw people in town but don't necessarily burden residents in their backyard for multiple months of the year. So I just wanted to thank City Manager Turowski for taking care of that. And it's not often you can make everybody happy, but I think everybody came away feeling like we listened to them, they were respected, and hopefully this create a win-win for everybody. And the second one, I apologize for this is such poor planning on my part, but we have some Louisville Elementary second graders in the audience that had come to the meeting tonight. They had submitted projects from their teacher who had then shared it, and just different ideas to improve the city. And they talked about having, you know, more options for recreation. They talked about having, you know, make sure that the scooters aren't taking up room
Right.
on the sidewalks, and just and having clean air, clean water. And I just wanted to say, like, this is what government looks like in action. You know, many of the people up here share those goals, and we just appreciate you sharing those ideas. And Anytime, if you want to come and talk or bring your classmates, you are welcome to do that because you live in the city just as much as any of the rest of us do. So thank you very much for coming. Does anybody else have anything for the good in order?
That's all I have.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.